Getting a web dev job is simple. You don't need a CS degree or previous work experience to land a high-paying web developer job at a top company in 2024. In fact, getting a job in tech right now is easier than ever. And I know this sounds super controversial and doesn't fit the usual YouTuber narrative, but if you give me a few minutes, I'll explain exactly what I mean. This video is split into 3 easy to digest sections that will give you the ammo to actually survive on the tech battlefield. And by the way, I'll tell you that there is a critical mistake that 99% of aspiring developers make, and avoiding this will fast track your career like nothing else. But more on that later. Section 1 is the mental game. Have you ever tried achieving a goal before? Maybe like losing a few pounds or learning an instrument and failed every single time? Have you ever wondered why that is? Here's the answer. Your mental game isn't strong enough. You haven't developed it. Maybe you watched a few David Goggins motivational videos.
Good, 22! Who's gonna carry the boats and the logs?
They will hype you up for a few minutes, maybe even a day, but that's not enough. You need a profound and dramatic event to get your ass into gear and perform at your best. This is what I call a f*** event. If you don't have the right mindset, no matter what course, program, or mentor you follow, you will not succeed. And here's the thing, most people ignore this part and dive straight into coding. They learn a few concepts, they watch some videos and think they are on the right track. But real talk, making a career change like this requires so much from you. So here's how you build a solid mindset. Step 1 is finding your why. Besides the money, why do you want to learn this? I wanted to feel proud of myself, proud that I achieved something despite my parents being against me leaving law school. I used to journal, writing down how my life would look like once I became a developer, once I started making more money, once I had more opportunities. I pictured even, telling my friends, the ones who mocked me for even trying, that I made it from a barista to a software developer. And as a guy, moving up the tax bracket also meant more dating opportunities. Some girls laugh at me for thinking I deserved a show with them because I was just a barista. What's your why? Drop it in the comments. Let's make this interactive. Leave your Instagram handle and maybe reach out to someone who's on the same journey as you. Step 2, is this the right career for you? Here's the deal, not everyone is cut out for this. So ask yourself, do you like working from your computer? Do you like solving problems? Do you enjoy doing endless research and learning new things? Do you like the feeling of finally succeeding after being stuck for days? If you answered yes to these questions, this is the career for you. If not, maybe plumbing or carpentry is more of your thing, and that's okay. I heard electricians are in high demand right now, and a lot of people are taking that career route, Section 2, it's all about the hands-on, raw, practical advice. At this point, you might feel paralyzed by choice. I get it. Constantly second-guessing whether you are learning the right thing or not, or if what you're learning is already outdated. Tutorials alone won't cut it. Most people waste 1, 2, 3, I've seen 12 years jumping between languages and frameworks, never becoming good at any of them. Don't be that person. So here's what you need to do. First step is to choose your field of work in tech. It can be web, it can be mobile, it can be cybersecurity, it can be data science. There are so many options, but here's the trick. You have to stick with the one you choose. Grass isn't greener on the other side, it's greener wherever you water it. I personally chose front-end web development. Step 2 is to choose your language. Once you choose your field, the next logical step is to pick a language. I chose JavaScript because it's flexible. I can be a front-end, back-end, or full-stack developer with it. I can freelance, I can get a job, or even start my own company using this language. Many people hate JavaScript, but after working with hundreds of people, I can confidently say it's extremely versatile and it works. Step 3 is to master your language and your field of work. And this is where most people mess up. Learning a language isn't just about writing code. You've got to drill, build, and reflect. So drilling means isolating specific parts of the language or concepts and repeat them over and over and over until they've been ingrained in your brain. This is straight out of sports training and hardly anyone talks about it in coding. Then we have building, and you should start with very simple projects, then gradually take on more complex ones as you gain confidence. Then we have reflecting. Every 30 days, maybe every 60 days, look back. What have you learned? What do you suck at? what do you need to improve, write that shit down, confront your insecurities, and work on those. By the way, in the description below, I've left the exact roadmap my students use to learn JavaScript. It's super effective and has helped people go from zero to making six figures in as little as 6 months. So I would highly recommend you to go ahead and check it out. Now, if you're aiming for front-end development, here's what you need to know, and this list is not exhaustive. HTML and CSS, you should be able to build any website and layout you see. Then we have Figma, which is a tool used by designers to create designs, and you should be able to take designs from Figma and then replicate them. Then we have JavaScript, and you should know how to manipulate the DOM, handle data, know your available methods, and master promises. Then we have React, and you should know both classes and hooks. You shouldn't jump into React if you are not a master at JavaScript. Then you should also learn Next.js, even if you are probably not a fan, but most companies are nowadays, so you should go for that. Like Git, the command line, Slack, Jira, these are industry standards. You should also have team experience and know agile workflows. Again, this is something that we cover in depth in my program to get you job ready fast. Section 3 is all about strategy. You need a strategy. Even not having a strategy is a strategy, but it's one that won't work. That's why most beginners end up as LinkedIn zombies, grinding the easy apply button, making cringe posts, and networking in ways that go nowhere. You only need to do 3 things to succeed. ABC, always be coding, every day, no matter what. If you burn out or if you need a break, take it, but then go back to coding. Then you should reflect regularly on your progress, and then you should adjust your path when needed. If you do these 3 things, you'll be golden. Most aspiring developers brush over some concepts and call it a day. Most aspiring developers stay at a very surface level with very simple portfolio projects, and they are fighting at the bottom with thousands of unskilled engineers just like them. Okay, job markets are cyclical, and if you go to data.indeed.com, you'll see that all jobs in all industries have the same trend. You just have to be better and you will be hired. This simple strategy has worked for me and my students, just like Connor, one of my clients, who's now making $80,000 a year after following these steps. So check his interview out.
Right now I'm a UI developer on a 1-year contract for Click. And most of my days so far, I'm still very much in the onboarding stage. They have a lot of different micro repos and stuff like that for me to learn. So trying to fit all that together has been a bit of a learning curve. But yeah, so it's been a lot of going through. They have me doing sort of the grunt work at the moment of bug fixing. So searching through like 5 repos for 4 hours to find 1 line of code that needs to change. But yeah,
I can relate to that.
but you know, it's nice to do that for money.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. And what were you doing before you became a developer? What was your job? Were you like a mad genius? Were
Yeah.
you like yeah, what were you doing?
I was working a dead-end minimum wage job and decided that that's not something I wanted to do anymore. So I got started working on this, and
What were you doing? Locksmith? Or that was Lucas?
that was Lucas. I was working at a scuba diving shop before I really started all this stuff.
Gotcha. And how old are you, by the way? 24?
26.
26, okay. And what made you say, you know what, fuck it, I don't wanna work this low-end job anymore?
Well,
What triggered you?
it was COVID actually, because
COVID.
not a lot of people want to scuba dive anymore during COVID. So I was out of a job and I realized I didn't want to be in this, it gave me a minute to think about where I was going and didn't really have any prospects. And I decided that, Lucas reached out to me and said, hey, programming is something that I know you'd be good at. It's something that, it's a booming industry right now, so you should really get into it. And I decided, to start working on by myself for a while until he put me in contact with you, Christian, and then we went on from there.
I think you were doing React when we met, right?
Yeah.
From Udemy.
Yeah.
And what was the difference? like going through all those resources that I guess everyone, I want to start programming. I'm going to go to Udemy or Codecademy or Free Code Camp or
Hmm.
Coursera. I think those are the
Yeah.
maybe Scrimba nowadays.
Mhm.
What was it that made you say, okay, I need some pro help when it comes to this instead of like winging it, by myself?
Uh, Part of it was I got an interview. I had no idea. I was completely in
You had
over
an
my head.
interview.
I got, yeah, because I put in like a few months of work into this, and I could make a React web page, so I'll put that on
Uh-huh.
my
Uh-huh.
I could put that on my resume and I'll give it a try.
Yeah.
And I got in and I showed this guy, and it was one of those interviews where the guy was just like, okay, show me what you got.
Uh-huh.
He didn't ask me questions. He didn't, you know, try to quiz my skills, though I wouldn't have been able
Yeah.
to get very far there either.
Yeah.
But he was just show me what you got. And I showed him, and he was like, okay, well, I've seen this like 16, 17 times. So
Oh, it was a clone from a Udemy course or what?
yeah.
Oh, okay. That's embarrassing,
And
huh? Yeah.
yeah, it was that. And also I had this like instant messaging app that used Firestore
Firebase?
and stuff. Yeah. So uh and then he's like, okay, well, how does this work? And I sort of realized that because I followed a tutorial to get there, I couldn't really describe how it worked. I was
Okay.
like, well, there's a list, and then every time the list is updated, and he's like, okay, well, what happens if, two people do it at the same time?
Uh-huh.
And I
Because
was
it's
like,
real
oh,
time, right? The
yeah,
Firebase is real time, correct?
yeah. And so I had no idea how to answer. I realized that I was a lot more out of my depth than I thought. I was on the top of, Mount Stupid in the
Yeah.
graph of
You
confidence
had
and
like a very
knowledge.
shallow knowledge about
Yeah.
like what's happening there.
Mm.
Okay. Gotcha.
And so I
I mean,
realized that I really had to.
that's good. Actually, bro, I had the similar experience, I managed to get an interview and the guy said, "Oh, I really like you. You seem like you're very passionate about this, but you have no projects. At least you had the project. I
Mhm.
had no projects." Um, so yeah, okay, cool. And when you joined the program, was it like what you were expecting it to be? Like,
Uh,
what were you expecting when you got into this? Besides an Eastern European dude screaming at you.
Part of me, I mean, I had Lucas's good word to help, but part of me was still thinking of the usual reputation that code camps have sort of gotten of like here's basically a Udemy course. I'll take your $5,000. You're a developer now. Good luck.
Yeah, after three
Um,
months.
but there's a lot more support. Things were going on for a lot further, and you had a really um a forward-thinking mindset. Like you weren't trying to just get us through, you're trying to get us jobs.
Yeah.
So,
That's actually true. Like you finished the program before I added the new team project, um, which is even more hardcore than what you've been through.
mhm.
And like honestly, when I'm speaking with the guys or whenever I'm in the meetings with them, I'm like a bit scared because some of them seem to know more than me, but don't tell that to anyone.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, cool. And yeah, I mean, it's all these interviews are pretty straightforward. I've done that, blah blah
Mhm.
blah. In terms of like cash, because everyone is interested in that. Like, what were you making before, and what are you making now? Just let's touch on that, and then let's move on because I think that's what
Yeah, I
everyone is
was
like.
making
Oh,
like $16 Canadian an hour before. And after all this, I'm making 40 bucks an hour now, which has made my paychecks about 2,000 bucks, a little
yeah.
bit north of that. So
Uh-huh.
it's been a big difference.
And you're just starting out, so if you keep going like
Yeah.
this, you should go
Yeah.
higher
Hmm.
in the next year or so. Do you have any plans for the future? Like, what's your
At the
career
moment,
trajectory?
I found a really convenient spot because it's in my city, which there is a decent tech industry, but I didn't expect to get anything local, something I can actually go to an office for. And they've got
Uh-huh.
a whole lot of space for advancement and stuff like that. So I'm hoping to really impress these guys with the year I have here, and then get brought on permanently after that. But if not, I have a recruiter who helped me get this gig, so he's going
Yeah.
to be able to give me a hand with all the other local tech industry stuff.
Let me ask you this, bro, because we had our fights and disagreements, like with Lucas as well.
Mhm.
Um, how what would you do different if you do it again? Like
Well,
knowing that you got here at this point,
mhm.
how would you how
I
would you
mean,
approach this whole process again if you could have another shot?
in regards to the whole process, I mean, consistency is key. Being able to
Mhm.
come in and study it and work on it and apply and apply and apply and apply and apply until your eyes roll back into your head. Um, but also in regards just for job searching, um,
When you say
reaching,
apply, you mean apply the knowledge and apply the knowledge and apply the knowledge, yeah?
yeah, but also just apply for jobs,
Hmm.
because there were times where, like I'd feel kind of down and out where I would have, sent out like 10, 15 applications every day for 2, 3, 4 weeks straight and get nothing.
Hmm.
I'd say, especially when I started really applying in earnest, it was kind of a bad time because it was right after the big, AI boom.
Yeah.
And suddenly
What wasn't even the AI boom actually. It was more like the layoffs and whatnot, right?
yeah. So there was a lot of, it was not the easiest time to get into the industry. Absolutely not. But
Yeah,
yeah, so it's just, you got to have that diligence, you have to have that, just, even though you don't want to, you have to go back into it day after day to make sure, uh, you know, because it's all about playing the numbers and it's all about getting that one opportunity.
exactly. And what like I guess the reason why like most people and including myself like we all know what we have to do, right? Like if I ask you, bro, like if you want to become whatever,
Hmm.
uh I mean, you can watch a YouTube video and whatnot, and then you know the basic principles that you need to, implement to get where you want to get. It's not rocket science, you know? Like, hey, if you want to become Mr. Olympia, all you have to do is diet hard, work out,
Hmm.
get on steroids, and then in like 5, 7 years, you'll probably have a shot at it, right?
Yeah.
But what do you think um happens in your brain when you don't get that quick dopamine, because it's all about dopamine if you really think about it, because if
Yeah.
you feel sad, you eat a chocolate, you feel good, right? It's like
Hmm.
instant. Or you're bored, you watch YouTube or a Netflix show, and then instantly you are in a better mood, right?
Hmm.
But when it comes to programming, developing your skills and applying to jobs, like it's a very delayed gratification model, right? You do something
Hmm.
today, then in 6 months you're gonna get something out of it. So
Yeah.
how let's say now you're a front-end developer, and then let's say in a year's time you wanna work at Google, right?
Hmm.
Obviously, going from 0 to 1 is way harder than going from 1 to 10, right?
Yeah.
But mm, how would you make yourself cope with that pain of not getting what you want when you do the work that you are doing, like the sacrifices, like dealing with your, I guess, insecurities, right? You do have insecurities. I have insecurities, like, oh, is
Yeah.
this gonna work? How would you deal with this now?
Uh, well, it was really a just like you can't, the more you think about the large scale of it, the more you think about like, I've been doing this for this amount of time and I'm still not where I want, and you just
Hmm.
can't think that way. Like, oh, you sort of have to do a one step after the other,
Hmm.
you know. The next step you take is the most important one you can take.
Yeah.
So, uh, you know, it ends up working out in the end, and you sort of have to use that idea to cope.
Yeah.
But I mean, I won't lie, it wasn't fun. It wasn't something that I want to go through again at all.
Yeah. Well, I remember.
It was, so I found that having other people there to help keep you consistent is really good. People you can't ignore, people who, preferably have at least an idea of what you're trying to do,
Hmm.
and can keep you honest and can keep you consistent and can say, hey, even so much as just getting on a call with somebody, for like 15 minutes is like, okay, well, let's talk about the jobs that you applied to today.
Just to vent a little bit, right?
Yeah, just a vent, but also, to keep you honest. Because if you're like, okay, well, did you apply to 100 places this week? Okay, well, we're not going to go through all 100 places. And so, the slacker in you is like, well, I could just pretend that I did 100.
Yeah, but then
Or,
at the end of the day, you are cheating yourself, you know?
yeah.
It-
But
yeah.
what, especially in those like the long marathons, you know, you start to want to cheat every once in a while.
Hmm.
Or at least I found that that's how I felt. And having someone there who's like, okay, well, tell me what you did today. Let's
Hmm.
go through every single one and, you know, talk about what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it, what the
Hmm.
requirements are. And that I found really helpful.
Hmm. It's like you do stuff and then you end up being like NPC about it. And then
Hmm.
you just do stuff and then you don't realize like, hey, maybe I should like think about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something that I'm missing.
Yeah.
And it's like basically snapping out of your head and like getting into like the present. I don't want to sound too much like woo
Hmm.
woo, but like just stopping for a second. Hey, am I actually, I can do shit, right? I can do stuff, but am I really doing this to the best of my abilities, or I'm just doing it for the sake of doing it, you
Yeah.
know? Because right now I have a couple of guys, they are about to start applying and whatnot, and August is horrible for hiring, same as November, December, January, and February.
Hmm.
So I asked him like, "Hey, what did you do?" He's like, "Oh, I applied a few times here and there." Okay, but do you have numbers? Like, what did you do? Did you reach out to those people? Did you do that, that, that? It's like,
Hmm.
oh shit, no, I didn't do any of that, you know. So
Yeah.
it's good that we spoke. The problem was that I didn't even know that the guy is applying for a month, you know.
Yeah.
So just tell me what you're doing so I can, sort you out.
Hmm.
Okay. Um, all in all, like, was this man, this Zoom is pissing me off. Was this whole thing worth it for you? Like, I see all these doomers online, they're talking about like, oh, web dev is not worth it, or like programming is not worth it, blah blah, blah, and they still, work in the scuba dive shop, or
Yeah.
like they're
Work at
still doing
McDonald's or whatever. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Do you do you think it's still worth it? Was it worth the effort and the, you know?
I mean, yeah. Like it's been on top of the money because everybody likes the money, and
Yeah.
it's sort of the easiest thing to talk about.
Mhm.
But there's also you get a different feeling in yourself, where
Mm.
like you get a different confidence in yourself when you're not when your boss couldn't just grab some guy off the street and have them do your job like at a
Mhm.
McDonald's, you know, have people who care about
Mhm.
what you think and actually be working with other people to create something uh interesting and worthwhile. I find
I
has like
never
a
thought about it in this way.
yeah, I mean it's a self-respect thing, you know. Nobody
Uh-huh.
wants to be, 26 working at McDonald's. And so you know, it's also
It's
just
like,
been a huge boost to finally, to set the goal, to go after it, to work for it, and to finally get it
mhm.
is
What
huge.
goals do you have after this? What's your next goal?
My next goal is
It doesn't have to be related to the job, like something else.
Well, I've been stuck in French Canada for quite a while, so I suppose learning French would be my next big goal because that also
Oh,
opens up a lot of professional
I would
opportunities.
say it's time to move out of French Canada, but
Maybe,
whatever. Yeah.
maybe. But then I went and, proposed to a French girl, so I suppose I've got to do it now.
Oh shit. Okay. You are cooked.
Yep.
I was the worst at French. I don't know what's the rating in Canadian schools, but we are graded from 1 to 10, and we have two semesters, right? The
Mhm.
first semester I was averaging 3, and then the second one 7. So I can
Yeah.
average at the end of the year 5, so I can pass the class. So I never had a good time with French, bro.
Yeah,
Like,
I remember when I was in my French classes in high school, I only took one because that's all you needed. And I was like, I'm never going to go anywhere near French Canada. I don't care.
yeah, man. Maybe
And
you
look
should
where
move
we
out
are.
to Canada, bro. That should be like a good next step.
Yeah,
I heard what not Peru, but there's another South American country that is pretty popular right now. But I suck at South America. Let me see. Because I heard there are a lot of digital nomads there. Let me
mhm.
see. South America, Colombia, that's where I want to go, but for reasons I cannot disclose on this testimonial. Let's see. I think it was called. What the fuck is it? Maybe it was underneath. Anyway, whatever. Whatever, man. I'm really bad at geography. So
No
not
worries.
Mexico, maybe Central America. Fuck, man. Now I'm gonna be
I'm also been thinking about going over to Portugal.
Costa Rica. That's the next thing.
Ah, yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah, and Portugal is pretty good actually. They have very good taxes.
Good
And
taxes. Everything's cheap down there.
yeah, exactly.
Gorgeous place, though.
And if you learn French, you can actually, learn Portuguese fairly easy.
Yep.
So that's good. Man, I hate the fact that my Zoom is frozen. But yeah, cool, bro. That's pretty much it. I appreciate you being here.
No
Um,
worries.
you pissed me off a few times, but I'm happy that we
Made it in
finally
the end.
got you. Yes, that we made
Yeah.
it in the end.
Mhm.
Um, my advice for you would be like just ignore, the emotions, just just push harder. Fuck that. I'm also getting emotional over things, and then I always realize, looking back, I should have just failed faster. Like just
Mhm.
get over it, just do it faster, because like dealing with your emotions is not really gonna help you out. It's not
Mhm.
gonna like succumbing to your emotions. I think that's
Yeah.
how I feel about these things. It's not gonna matter in 10 years. So
Mhm.
any closing uh, words, I guess?
Uh, you just have to keep going, even when you want to just roll your face across the keyboard and try to find a good recruiter because those people are like gold.
Related to regarding the keyboard, bro. I'm coding my own app right now.
Hmm.
Jesus Christ, man. Sometimes I want to throw the keyboard off the
Hmm.
from the window. It's,
Yeah.
it's it's super annoying. I forgot how hard coding is.
You've been out of the
Uh,
game too long.
no, but I'm like, whenever I see you guys, I'm like, why are you guys not faster? And then I realize, oh wait, this is actually hard.
Hmm.
So, one more thing. Who would you recommend this to? Like, who would be the ideal person for this program?
Uh, somebody who, um, who's the best person for this? Somebody who really wants to become more.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you just here for the money, if you're not going to get any satisfaction out of it, like, he needs something more than just a paycheck someday to get through those sorts of days.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like maybe the paycheck is, what makes you think of when you
Get
look
you
at your
started.
bank account and you're like, well, fuck this. But everywhere you look, you see the people say, you got to do more, you got to need more than just the money, or you're not going to be able to do it.
Well, that's true, bro. I've tried also some other business models,
Hmm.
and every time I try them, I'm like, fuck, I'm not getting any satisfaction from this. It's like I make some cash, yeah, but it doesn't feel good, So that's kind of why I stuck with this. Because,
Hmm.
yeah, it's a business, makes money, but at the end of the day, like hearing stories like yours or like Connor or like Mache or like Kirian or whatever makes me like, oh shit, I actually had some impact,
Hmm.
It sounds woo and cringe or whatever. People are like, oh, whatever, he speaks like that. But at the end of the day, like, feels good, to see like
Yeah.
you guys are set, maybe not set for life, but you have a skill that you can from now on develop on your own. And from now on, you have more autonomy, because
Yeah.
with money, with like self-confidence, like you can try other things and you can do other
Hmm.
stuff,
Hmm.
If you want a clear path with accountability, my mentorship program is designed to fast track you from beginner to job ready. You'll work on real projects with a team, learn the latest tools, and get hands-on experience that employers actually want. If that sounds like something that you need, check out the link in the description. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.